Okay, students, so today we are talking about topic 4, the equation of a line. For your warm-up, you should pause the video and list 3 things that you already know about lines. So in IB, the slope of the line is called the gradient. And the gradient measures the line's steepness, and it can be measured with the slope formula, the gradient formula, which is just the change in y divided by the change in x. The y-intercept is that point where the line crosses the y-axis, and the x-intercept is that point where the line crosses the x-axis. The equation of a line is the equation which connects the x and y values for every point on the line. So the equation of a line. All right, so point gradient form is the form that uses the slope. So y minus y1, and it uses 1 point. And times x minus x1. And the values from the point would go for the x1 and the y1. The gradient intercept form, you might have known this before as slope intercept form. We previously wrote y equals mx plus b. Here we write y equals mx plus c. This is still the y-intercept, just with a different name. And the general form is going to be ax plus by plus d equals 0, and you do want your a and b to be integers. You can't always make your d an integer, and your leading coefficient, your a, should be positive. All right, so we're going to be aiming for slope intercept form, gradient intercept form, which is that one, y equals mx plus b or plus c. But we're not really given the information that we need because we're not given that y-intercept. So we're actually going to start with your point gradient form, and that's this one. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And we're going to put in these numbers. We're going to put in 4 is going to be your x1, and negative 5 is going to be your y1. So substituting those numbers in, you have y minus negative 5 equals m. Oops, we know the m, right? Negative 3. Negative 3 does not look like a negative 3 times x minus 4. Minus negative is plus, so I have y plus 5 equals, I'll make them more convincing, negative 3 this time, x minus 4, and we're trying to end up with a gradient intercept form, so we're going to continue to simplify. So I have y plus 5 equals, and I'll distribute my negative 3. Negative 3x plus 12, subtract the 5, and get y equals negative 3x plus 7. Okay. In the next one, we're given the whole equation, and we're just supposed to change the form to general form. So I need to get everything on the left side, so I'm going to do that by adding 2/3 x to both sides and subtracting 2 from both sides. So on this side, everything cancels, and I have 0. Oops, sorry, you couldn't see any of that. And then on the other side, I'm going to just put them in the same order with the x term first. 2/3 x plus y minus 2 equals 0. Now we need to get rid of that fraction 2/3, and we can do that by multiplying both sides by 3. So I'll do 3 on this side and 3 on this side. Distributing the 3, I'm going to get 2x plus 3y minus 6 equals 0. So you should pause the video for a minute and try these on your own. So hopefully by now you've tried this. For this one, we're trying to go to gradient intercept form. That is your y equals mx plus c again. So we need to solve it for y. So I'm going to start by subtracting 3x on both sides. Negative 4y equals negative 3x plus 2. And then we're going to divide by negative 4. So y equals negative over negative is positive 3/4. And then positive over negative is negative 1/2. All right, so we need to end up with the general form here, but because we're given the slope and a point, we're still going to start with the point gradient form, which is this one. So it would be y minus negative 1 equals, slope is 2/3, times x minus negative 2. So that would be y plus 1 equals 2/3 times x plus 2. I'm going to distribute. Y plus 1 equals 2/3 x plus 4/3 and subtract the 1. Actually, I don't need to subtract the 1 because what I am trying to do is go for general form. So that means everything on the same side. So actually I'm going to subtract the y and subtract the 1. So now this side is 0. I'm just going to move the 0 over here. This side I have 2/3 x minus y. And then 4/3 minus 1 is going to be plus 1/3. And then I need to multiply everything by 3. So let me multiply both sides by 3. So I get 2x minus 3y plus 1 equals 0. All right, number 4 does not give me the slope or the y-intercept, so I'm going to start by finding the slope. So it doesn't matter which one you call 1 or 2. I'll do that, and that will be my 2. And so I have y equals, why did I put x for both? That's a y. Okay, so negative 1 minus 2 over 5 minus 3. So I get negative 3 over 2. Then you can use either of your points as the point for the point gradient form, but I like the one with positive numbers, so I'm going to use that one. So it would be y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I'll distribute. Y minus 2 equals negative 3/2 x plus 9/2. And I will add 2 to both sides. So my y is by itself. I still have negative 3/2 x. Oops, you can't see any of that. And let's see. So this would be 4/2, so I have 13/2. And I think I did it. This is my gradient intercept form. All right. So back here, we're just going to be substituting the point values for x and y. You can take a moment to try it before listening. Okay, so of course this is my x and this is my y. So I have 2 equals negative 2 plus 1. 2 equals negative 1. That is not true, so this point is not on the line. Okay, here's my x and my y. 3 times 3 minus 2 times negative 1. 9 plus 2. This one's going to work. 11 equals 11, so yes, this point is on the line. Next one, we need to find the slope if this point is on the line. So again, we're going to substitute for x and y. I have 3 equals m times negative 2 plus 7, subtract your 7, negative 4 is equal to negative 2m, divide by negative 2, and I get m equals 2. That's all it asks you to find. All right, and then for this one, it's just telling you this is your x and this is your y. So substitute in again, 3 plus 4k equals negative 9, and solve for k. And I'm getting k equals negative 3. All right, and then the very last section is on parallel and perpendicular. So two lines are parallel if they have the same slope gradient, and they're perpendicular if their gradients, their slopes, are negative reciprocals of one another. So both negative and reciprocal. So if you want to find the equation of a line that's parallel to this line, you just have to steal its slope, m equals 3, and then use this point for your x1 and your y1. It tells you to find the equation of the line and doesn't give you a format, so you can choose. I usually go to the gradient intercept form if I'm given a choice, but you can use any form that's one of the ones on the front. So I'm going to start with y minus y1, 4, equals m times x minus x1, and I'll distribute, and then I will solve for y. So y equals 3x plus 1. And the last one is perpendicular to this one, so the opposite reciprocal of negative 2 is 1/2. So my slope is 1/2. I'll use this point for x1 and y1. So y minus 5 equals m times x minus negative 1, so plus 1. Distribute and add. So y equals 1/2 x, that 5 would be 10/2, so I have altogether 11/2. And that's it. Make sure that you do the delta math that corresponds to this lesson.